can talk about role playing and stuff like that. Not that kind of role playing. Welcome
Great
everyone
way
to
to
the
start,
pre-show.
Gomer.
What kind of role
Great
playing
way
are
to
we
start.
talking about?
It's the live pre-show brought to you by Spinwiz Comics. SpinwizComics.com. They also have an iOS and an Android app. It's basically free comics. It's a comic and webcomic discovery platform for people who love to read comics. We have an ad. I did not make this video. I always have to say that because people are like, holy crap, you made that video? And they're really not. Over 86 comic book creators, over 400 titles and growing. It's definitely just as easy for me to say, it's free comics, y'all. Why are you still here? Go get the comics. We're going to talk about the news later. We're going to talk about our favorite comics later. And holy shit, is it slim pickings?
Oh, yeah, it is.
I guess all I have for the pre-show, the live pre-show brought to you by Spinwiz Comics is
Spinwiz.
The Geekterion collection, They Live, actually got taken down on a few places. Sorry,
Yeah.
we will not make that mistake again. It's still up on YouTube unless you're in Germany for some reason.
Really?
I don't
YouTube's
know.
the one that I would think would be the one to take it down.
Now, Facebook put the kibosh on it.
I've seen
really
people.
hard.
I've seen YouTube rip down things over some pretty trifling, like copyright material. I think, like
Right.
one time a dude did a video essay about Blade Runner, and he showed Roy Batty's like death monologue at the end, and they pulled it down for that and just that.
And
that's
we
not
showed
cool.
about half of that fight scene between Roddy
We did show
Piper
quite.
and Keith David. So
We did show quite a bit of the movie on the stream. So yeah, we will not make that mistake again. Again, we're going to talk about some news. There wasn't a lot of geek news really. There's some pretty good stuff that we came up with though in the pre-show. So also comics, but tomorrow we'll do the preview show, my favorite show of the week. I wish you'd hang out for that, Taylor. You could dog on books that we're reading. But then Tuesday, can't wait. Top 5 comic book movies not in the MCU, not animated. Must have had a theatrical release. Comic book bullies are going to hang out for that, unless Leroy has to work or something, or Eli's on an unannounced vacation or something.
And you have Jules showing up as my substitute.
Oh, Jules, you're not going to be here for that?
That's what we decided on the Geekterion.
No, I don't think we decided on that exactly.
That's
I thought it was
exactly
an addition.
what we decided on.
So I thought it was
he
addition
said,
by addition.
He said if I can't do it, which I can't,
you're not going to do that one?
You would do it for me. So
you're going to do the graphic novels, though, and trades.
Maybe. We'll see.
Oh, my gosh. That one should be so easy.
That's the hardest one because that one involves research. A lot
That
of
one,
research.
It's the graphic novels one. That's hard to narrow down. It really is.
The point of top 5, though, is to sort of build the fence around your choices first. You know, DC's bailing on Midtown. Actually, that's the other way around.
Yeah, it is the other way around.
Midtown is bailing on DC. Brian Wayne, check him out over at Cheers to Comics. It's a very good show. But yeah, we are gonna talk about that. But
it's like the only thing that happened this week.
Yeah, no shit. But I back to the graphic novels and trade paperbacks. You know, the top 5. You have to set your own parameters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we were talking a little bit about that after the show last week. I remember.
Yeah, go ahead, Taylor. Pick that up because it was interesting.
It was. I mean, there's a lot of criteria you go with. You were going with like, I want this character to be in here, so I'm going to pick what I think is their best book. Yeah. But Adam and I kind of shat on you for that because it's not necessarily a good way to do it.
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad way to do it, though. Putting a spotlight on characters that
honestly though
define.
It's a good spotlight on iconic characters, but you're not really telling what you think are the 5 greatest graphic novels.
Well, that's what you have to decide by greatest, right?
Honestly,
is it what's important to me? Is it what I think other people should be reading to understand a certain thing?
A lot of the most iconic characters don't necessarily like exist in the single greatest like trade paperbacks of all time. It's more of a body of work type of deal, you know? Like Spider-Man's my favorite character. I couldn't think of a single volume of his that I would even consider one of the top 5 best graphic novels I've ever read.
I mean, you're absolutely right. He's got some like great moments, and he does have some great arcs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, there are some good
Craven's Last
stories.
yeah.
Hunt. You could put
Craven's
Craven's
there's-
Last Hunt.
is
There's
yeah,
tons of great
good.
stories. There's tons
Death
of great
to Gwen
moments.
Stacy, Spider-Man No More. Those are 3 that you could almost make an argument for. But on the other hand, it's hard for me to say that any one of those is like the defining book that defines Spider-Man as a character.
I think you were touching on earlier.
Because you're
when,
right,
like,
it's a body of work.
There's moments like. Okay, so like one of the most iconic Spider-Man moments, like at the end of the Master Planner arc, where he's like picking up like all that rubble, they homaged it in Homecoming.
Yeah,
that's a great moment. That issue's not one of the all-time great things I've ever read though.
you're right.
But like
cool things
okay, but
happen.
we're also
in it.
like
That doesn't mean it's fantastic literature, that you're reading.
yeah.
It's not something that's elevating the form.
I remember one of the other things we talked about is like maybe making it like a 1 book per author rule. Otherwise, you in particular would flood it with Alan Moore, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you could make a strong case for several of Alan Moore's books, but
I do it all the time.
It does kind of crowd out other potential options, though.
Yeah. Again, this has been the pre-show, the live pre-show brought to you by SpinWiz Comics. Check them out on iOS and Android. SpinWizComics.com. Literally, y'all. It's free comics. Why are you even still here listening to this? Let's start the show. Let's.
You don't think anybody will watch that garbage?
Some people will watch anything, Scarlet.
True. I have all these other ones. I don't know why I keep using the only one that I keep using. I have so many better intros.
It's because that's your favorite one.
It's my favorite one. It is my favorite one.
You just love that G.I. Joe.
I have a Cobra or a Cobra one. No.
Oh, you need a Cobra one. You better have a Cobra Commander one.
I mean, honestly, though, the self-awareness from that clip is probably one of our strongest attributes.
It really is. It really is. Greetings, geeks. Welcome back. It's This Geek in Comics, Outright Geekery's comic book shit talk show.
Shit talk show.
I am your co-host, Gomer. With me, as always, Adam, Normal, and Taylor. We're talking news. We're talking comic reviews. There's not much of either, really. So we're liable to ramble and go off on tangents. I've watched but this is segment 1 where we just talk about what we're doing for the week. I watched over 25 horror movies already in October.
Oh man, I have not been that far. I've been trying to really up my horror movie count this weekend. Yeah. I watched a lot of old Frankenstein movies. I watched a bunch of Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Watched the 3rd one earlier today. And then I watched I watched this cheesy one the other night called Blood Diner.
Oh
which
my
was
gosh!
Have you seen that one?
No,
but it's this nice cheesy.
It sounds so bad.
It is so bad, but it's so good.
There's a whole subgenre of horror movies that you're just there to watch garbage.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what this is.
I don't get it.
It's this cheesy little slasher with these 2 brothers who open up a diner where they start killing people and feeding them, to
no.
And what's best is they're a health food place, so they're all saying that they're like soy burgers and stuff. So everybody's like, "Oh, these are the best."
Oh, it's double horror for the vegans too.
Yep, exactly.
That's so dumb.
So, do you have any that you're like saving for like closer to Halloween? Like, kind of like I'm gonna save one to look forward to, type of deal.
No, me neither. Just, I mean, what are some notable ones I watched? Event Horizon recently.
That's a good one. It's great.
Probably one of my favorites. Aliens is on there, of course. If we're going for the sci-fi, it's sci-fi.
I wouldn't consider Aliens a horror movie.
I do.
It's a horror action movie.
Yes. Aliens, not really.
It's a horror action movie. There's definitely horror elements to it. That whole face hugger scene is terrifying.
Yeah, dude. It's got some. It's definitely. Hey, it was in the horror section of whatever streaming service I watched it on.
Okay.
I watched all the Grudge movies, all the Paranormal Activity. As terrible as they are, I love them.
Oh, they're great. You have to watch them. Horror is great for junk. Yeah. They have great
Paranormal Activity movies. I didn't realize it. There's a story there.
Oh yeah, there is. There's
And
an
it's
overarching
brilliant.
story to it.
It's really well done.
Most of those long running horror
Yeah.
franchises do. They have an overarching
Yeah.
story. They're not great. You know.
I mean, Paranormal Activity though, like they really caught lightning in a bottle there in terms of those things cost like $40 to film.
Dude, yeah, it's
They
like a
got this
TikTok.
huge
It's
return
like
on it.
Cheap
TikTok.
camera with a tripod. That's all you need.
It's
Yeah.
like TikTok now, right? It's
You
just
hire 2
YouTube.
actors no one's ever
Buy-
heard of and
Buy
one
a Ring
camera.
camera.
Yeah.
Dude, you could do it so much better if you redid it with, because we're getting more and more cameras
just
all the
like-
time.
Wouldn't that like kind of take away from the campy charm of it though?
I don't know, maybe it's the fact that they don't even know what's going on now because they're not seeing it being recorded. I don't know. There's an angle there. There's always a new angle there. All the Grudge movies are legit scary. They are. They just get me. We watched Fright Night, the old classic.
I actually watched Fright Night the other night too.
Oh,
The
it's
80s
so
one.
dumb. I
love it. It is so dumb.
The King.
Like the
They
first half
remake
of it
that
is like
with,
a
like,
cheesy
Yeah.
80s
Colin Farrell a few years ago.
I think
kids
so.
movie,
I think
you know,
so.
not kids movie, but teenager movie.
Yeah,
But then it turns real dark in the end. That whole third act is just crazy.
it is. It's dark, dude. But it's just cheesy, stupid '80s movies. And yeah, Friday the 13th, part 2. I think that's a
Where
good
he
one.
has the sack, the burlap
The
sack.
sack, yeah, dude.
Have
The
you
end of
heard
that gets me.
Watching the first Friday the 13th
Actually,
is
a
kind
really
of
good
weird
ending.
because it's not actually Jason, it's his mom.
It's his
His mom.
Yeah.
And it's POV most of it
Hmm.
when she's killing people.
I don't like it. So what else should I watch? What else? I'm not watching your diner shit.
You should, man. It's
I'm not
great.
watching that. It sounds terrible.
It is in such a great way.
I don't know,
There's,
you
there's a
watched any
scene in that. There's a
Halloween
scene in
movies?
that where there's a whole bunch of naked cheerleaders dancing, and a guy walks in with a Ronald Reagan mask
Oh my
and
god!
shoots all of them.
I was thinking about The Purge. I should look at the Purge movies. I love the Purge movies. They're woke as hell.
Yes, they are. Except for
Taylor, you don't watch
I
horror
know about
movies?
The first one though. The first
I
one,
haven't
that
really been on a
Ethan
horror
Hawke
movie
one
binge,
isn't very
no.
great.
I'm all over it.
It's when they get the Frank Grillo dude in the second one. That's when they start getting real good.
I'll have my whole list. I should have brought my list with me. I've been keeping a list. So I'll bring my whole list with me next time.
Okay.
That'll
Do
be
it.
fun. You want to do news? Let's do stupid news. Oh, we got a comment. Oh, Big Willie's here. Hey, Big Will. Thanks for hanging out for a second, bro. What were we doing?
Doing
You're
news,
about to do
man.
News.
Man, there is so little news this week. It is almost nothing. But yes, let's start with the boring news and then we'll end with the movie news that we talked about earlier. UCS Distribution actually dumped DC, and we have a few more details on that. Lunar will be taking over all of DC's distribution. It's $125 a week minimum, but we've learned some details. If you don't make that, you'll have your order suspended until the following week. So until you can, have 125 minimum. And those who don't make $500 a month over 3 months will just be suspended. You don't get nothing. But on the positive side, Lunar Distribution is enforcing certain requirements for stores to keep their accounts. They have to either be one of the three: brick or mortar, a dedicated direct-to-consumer website with a functioning shopping cart, or an online platform selling direct to consumers in a format that is not an auction. So this seems like a solid thing for comic fans overall. I know a lot of stores are starting to do their own auctions. Yeah, that's the basic gist of it. This really wasn't DC's fault though. Lunar is definitely this. All right, here's a problem here. Okay, there's a lot of people to blame, and they're all to blame. All right, but what they're all doing is seizing on business opportunities that are crapping on the rest of the supply chain and distribution chain. You know what I mean? The stores are having to have these new rules. This is obviously not going to sell as many comics with these rules.
Oh no, definitely not.
And but it does cut out
into the market. People are gonna have to, change their accounts over.
Yeah, people are going to change their accounts over, learn a new system. And all this because DC and Diamond had a big beef. Now, with all that said, every single comic book fan who still bought paper comics that I ever talked to hated Diamond too. So you can't have it both ways, y'all.
I mean, as much of a clusterfuck as this is, it is probably for the overall better, it's for the greater good that someone is finally holding Diamond somewhat accountable for something,
I agree, but again, it's my main problem is it interferes with the shops, the way the shops work.
Well, this was whenever
the day to day.
When they announced that they were breaking up with Diamond, it was inevitable that we were going to get some bullshit like this,
Sure. And the biggest news here, I guess, is that no, it wasn't DC that dropped UCS. It was UCS that said no, it's not profitable for us to distribute your stuff. Now, UCS is basically owned by Midtown Comics, and their big, perk was
it's pretty bad that it's not profitable for a comic book store to sell DC Comics.
It really is, man. I think what they were hoping for, right? Like if you buy so many comics, you get those variant covers, and then you can sell the variant covers for more. Well, they
flooded the whole market with variant covers.
Yeah, the market.
It feels like the 90s all over again, man.
Yeah, so even if you see a big variant there, you're going to be able to find it, so it's not as rare, so it's not as collectible, so it's not as valuable. Really, what they did was they drove the market down, and their numbers were adjusted for a market that they themselves ended up, like you said, watering down so much that it was diluted to the point where they didn't make any money. So, whatever. That'll be interesting to see moving forward.
Developing story. We'll see what happens.
All right, I do have one more bit of news, but go ahead, Taylor. Talk about Snyder, whatever. You did homework before the show.
Sort of.
Language studies.
Okay, so I'm still probably not getting this right, but
oh gosh,
Jared Leto. We know that one's
Jared Leto. Yeah,
Joker.
Sure.
That Joker is showing up.
Two related news stories. Yeah, they're two people in the DCEU are reprising their role for the Snyder Cut.
Snyder Cut.
So Joe Manganiello is coming back as Deathstroke.
Yes.
And Jared Leto is coming back as the Joker. Somehow they are getting fit into this Justice League that Zack Snyder is sort of Frankensteining together here.
I'm excited.
I'm cool with Deathstroke coming back. I mean, he looked cool in that 2-second sting he was.
Sure, that's fine.
Whatever. Joker,
whatever. It's the easy thing to do is hate on Jared Leto. I don't care.
It is very easy because it wasn't very good.
It was not good.
He's the Joker we have now. Okay, guys.
All I hope is that he is not as much of a douche on set like he was the last time when he was filming Suicide Squad with pranking everybody all the time, sending people dead rats and shit for only like 5 minutes of being in the actual movie.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest fault with Jared Leto and Suicide Squad in particular is that his character had no reason to be there.
Exactly.
He is not at all consequential to the plot.
Exactly.
Nope. He's just there so they could have a famous character to put on the poster.
But he had to have been written in there. See, I've heard all kinds of things.
Well, apparently, there's like
there's a Suicide Squad
the Ayers cut. Yes, has like hours and hours of Jared Leto Joker footage that ended up not getting used at all. But like the final version that we got, he has absolutely nothing to do in that movie.
100% agree.
He's there to pad out the runtime by having Harley try to escape with him and fail, and so it's thus completely inconsequential.
So, with that said, he is not the problem with the Suicide Squad movie.
No, I mean, Suicide Squad.
Okay. That said, I still think he's a problem.
He was a stinky turd in an otherwise huge crap of a movie. Okay,
right.
It's hard to tell the difference.
He was a small turd, but he was still a
turd.
Movie.
No, 100%. I agree.
him being in Suicide Squad might not be a fair way for us to judge him because there were a lot of good actors who kind of got shafted by how badly written that movie was. So could there
edited.
be
I don't know
a version?
how.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but could there be a version of the Jared Leto Joker in this Justice League movie that isn't a total waste of fucking time? Yeah, I guess. Maybe. Who knows? But
I don't know if we'll ever see Morbius, Big Willie. I don't know
who
if
gives a
we'll
damn
ever see
about
it.
Morbius? Morbius is like a C-list Spider-Man
He
villain.
really
Why are
is.
they
Yeah,
even
I
making
have
this movie?
I have
no
no
desire
idea,
to see
man.
Morbius ever.
It's so weird. It's so weird. But on the Joker, Jared Leto's
Unless
Joker.
Wesley Snipes shows up at the end and kills him.
Yeah, right.
Then I'll go see Morbius.
On Jared Leto being in the Snyder Cut, though, as terrible as the portrayal was, no matter what the reason in Suicide Squad, it can only go up, right?
Yeah, that is true.
No.
I mean, our reaction to this character can only go
so
up
I'm going to point out.
Don't dare, Zack Snyder. Don't
to
give
make him
a
worse.
goal.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You
As
thought
much
you
as-
hated that Joker. Just wait.
As much as a segment of the fan base was clamoring for the Snyder Cut, Snyder's previous attempts in the DCEU were not great.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
I didn't hate Man of Steel.
Man of Steel was
okay.
Man of Steel is the best of the three.
Yes.
Man of Steel
Which is
tried to establish
really
its own-
damning praise there.
It tried to establish its own sort of thing, and he carried that
Sure,
through.
fine.
And I mean, I'm all for seeing a creator's vision of a certain thing, especially in comics. You know, with so many different takes on characters
Man of
and
Steel was
worlds.
fine, but
It's a decent movie. It's just not my
Yeah.
Superman.
Exactly.
You know, but it's really Batman versus Superman. That's the real big stinker.
that's
Yeah.
the dumpster fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
But hey,
All right, so there you go. So
Snyder
get ready
Cut.
for that.
We'll
That's
see.
coming next year.
Yeah.
Let's hide this and bring this up. We got the checklist for. Can you guys even read that? For King in Black.
Kind of.
This is what's happening. This is the next big thing at Marvel Comics. Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman doing another big event surrounding Venom et al. So there you go. That's a lot of damn books, and that's only into January.
Yeah.
You'll notice this only goes up to King in Black number 3. So the main book will only be 3 issues in by the time all of these holy shit tie-ins come out. Man, that is huge. I can't invest in all those books. I'll be reading Venom. I'll be reading the King in Black main book, but that's about it. Yeah, everyone hates the Cates unless you actually read his stuff. Then it's awesome. So yeah, there you go, King in Black. It wouldn't be an episode without some food news. Pillsbury makes a limited edition hot cocoa rolls with marshmallow icing.
Okay.
that
I think
actually sounds pretty good.
I think that's
Yeah.
all we need. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I'll try that.
This is
Oh my God.
significantly better sounding than most of the horrible crap that you bring up in
it
this
is.
segment.
It is.
Much better than the burrito holder
I
that
still
you
want
showed the
the
other week.
burrito
Yeah.
holder. I still want the burrito holder. Anyway, do we have any Transformers? No.
No, we
Nothing
don't. There
this
is
week.
nothing this week on Transformers.
Kind of a bummer. It's 2 weeks in a row where we didn't get any Transformers comics. But man, it shifts up into another gear.
Yeah, it does, man. Where did all these books come from all of
There's
a sudden?
like tie-ins and shit
Yeah, for what?
for some event. I don't know. They're giving Brian Ruckley more books.
Apparently.
That's your mini moment destruction. Let's go. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I have the munchies. There you go. Our first bit of stuff from Ten of Swords. Well, it was a pretty good week for Ten of Swords.
It was decent. Yeah, it was a pretty good
Wasn't
week.
terrible. The news we got, we do have Cable versus Bay.
Hey, yeah.
Bay the Unbeaten, I think. Or is it Iska the Unbeaten?
It's Iska the
I
Unbeaten.
think
It's
it's going to be
Bay.
unbeaten.
Bay the Blood Moon.
The Blood Moon.
Ooh. So we got Cable versus Bay. These matchups would be so much more revealing if we actually had any fucking clue who the Iraqi.
I think you'll get that
Battle
I think that's what
people are.
Stasis is next week,
Yes.
right?
I hope so.
that is. I would think the majority of Stasis will be
But
introduced.
yeah,
in
that
their
is a good point. It's
characters.
hard to get too hyped for these tournament matchups because
Right,
I don't
you're just
know who
looking
any
at
of these
character
people are.
design. You don't know anything
I
about
knew
them.
who Solemn
I mean,
was.
The
'Cause they
only
actually
character
gave me some
we know
background
Solomon
on
is they put
Solemn.
him in Wolverine, and that was a good call. I think. I wish they
And it was
had done
so
more of
good.
that. Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah.
So yeah, and then Pogger Pog is a giant fucking crocodile. So I don't know.
So
that there's
he's
much-
cool. Yeah, he's cool right off
Yeah,
the bat.
I don't know
not
that you
wrong.
need much more nuance than that. I mean, it's kind of what it says on the tin here. I think.
Well, there was a shot of Summoner in a book we're going to talk about in a minute that made Summoner feel all kinds of special to me. Where he was like commanding the earth and the ground to like be almost like a Groot looking character. Anyway, let's start with another book first. Excalibur 13, Teeny Howard, R.B. Silva. This is Ten of Swords, Part 9. Basically, it's fake sibling rivalry to get over on Saturnine as Brian and Betsy collect their swords with so much drama.
Oh, so much drama, man.
Drama.
All they do is just bitch back and forth to each other this entire issue. And
It was like my house on the daily.
Man, so you're
Except
gonna have
instead of
to
sword, it was
explain to me this
Oreos.
Captain Britain dynamic that's going on real quick, because I haven't been following Excalibur.
Okay, basically, there's a thing for the Captain Britain lore. You're offered either the
Yeah, I
sword
know that the
blade
amulet and the sword,
and if
right?
you take the sword, you're not worthy. But if you take the amulet, you are worthy, and then you automatically get the sword. It's weird. I know it's weird, but Brian took the amulet
Way
at
back
first, and then Betsy said, "No, I'll take the amulet," and because they wanted her to be the Captain Britain, because then she's connected to both Britain and Krakoa.
when. Okay, that makes
So
sense.
sort of like Apocalypse.
So it's a political thing going on.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Well,
political thing
I think
going
I
on.
recall at the beginning when I read the first few issues when they relaunched Excalibur here, and apparently Brian was like corrupted by Morgan Le Fay for a hot minute there.
Yeah, and then but they defeated her.
Yeah,
they took her out.
I jumped off the book before he got Black Knighted or whatever the fuck was happening.
Yeah, they took that out. But he's still a different sort of Captain Britain because he has the sword now instead of the amulet or whatever. So he's not really the true Captain Britain, but he still has the same powers as Captain Britain. But anyway, they sort of trick everybody into everybody is Captain Britain. Everybody is Captain Britain.
There is a whole Captain Britain core. So
different universes in the Omniverse. So everyone was like, "Oh shit, Jubilee died." No, that was not Jubilee. That was Jubilee.
The whole Captain Britain mythos is such a fucking acid trip, man.
Did you? In this issue, they did mention, and they have been.
Alan Moore had a lot to do with that. So
sure, they have been mentioning the incursions that occurred during Secret Wars and how this all came together after that, which is why there's not doorways to more places. There's only those 10 realms of Otherworld that are connected, which was very nice, I thought. This felt more important to the actual Excalibur book than anything to do with Ten of Swords, except for the fact that they got their swords.
They get swords, yeah.
So Brian ends up getting the Sword of Might, despite the fact that Betsy is still somehow Captain Britain. I'm not sure how that works because they broke the amulet. So whatever.
I will say this issue also kind of lessens my excitement for Saturnine as a character. In that first issue, I thought she was such a badass. The way she would kind of have complete control of the situation, of everything that was going on. The way she was controlling both sides to really benefit her and everything. But in this one, these two schlub Captain America twins just pull one over on her.
So Captain Britain, Brian,
because he got a pretty face.
He acts like he's still sort of under the control of Avalon and Saturnine in a way.
Yeah.
So he sort of leans into it, and they're like romanticizing or whatever. And like, they do this weird switcheroo where Betsy breaks in and is like, "Aha!
I got your sword!"
And she takes the Starlight sword, which is crafted from a piece of the Starlight Citadel itself. Yeah, this is sort of a throwaway issue for Ten of Swords. It's like, well, who cares where they got these swords? Just start freaking fighting with them, because it was wrapped around all these layers of family drama that was all fake family drama just to get over on Saturnine. But if you've been following the Excalibur book, it's perfect because Brian and Betsy are now finally together, and it's been wonderful because it's been drama like that the whole time. Anyway, on to the good book. X-Men number 13, Jonathan Hickman, Mahmoud Asrar, Ten of Swords, Part 10. A deep dive into Apocalypse, who was injured in the first volley of this war. after like half of the book, getting him healed and looking into more of the backstory from APOC's point of view, we go to the Temple of the Horsemen in Western Egypt, where it's like a tomb of his family from Iraq that he left over in Morocco.
Yeah.
And he picks up his sword, and the sword was in
apparently
four parts.
the 4 coffins had the 4 pieces of the sword. And that actually ties in reasonably well with that thing that came out last year. Where it was like the look ahead at all the books this year.
But the other, the
not
Marvel,
Rebirth.
Marvel Comics 1000.
Yeah, Marvel Comics 1000.
Yeah, it was like Rebirth, but it was the Marvel version.
Right.
Well, see, I was talking to you guys a few weeks ago. It like bothered me that like, so he went to this tomb to like resurrect his children, but his children were alive this whole time in Morocco. But no, apparently that's not what he was doing. Apparently
he was sort of there. That was like a memorial almost.
Right, memorial for his children because he thought they were dead.
And they even said in the book why he put the sword down there, because he didn't want to pick it up as a remembrance to his family. But we learned that it wasn't really. This is puzzling. We learned that it really wasn't Apocalypse's plan to leave his family behind. They like chose.
Yeah, they told him to leave. They told him to stay.
And they told him to go into the other world, which is our world.
like in freaking Genesis, like like Apocalypse, you're too weak to do this.
You can't handle this.
Yeah.
I mean,
we also learned
it was sort of a weird
Annihilation. The enemy, the bad guy, really isn't really a guy. It's just kind of like this helmet thing that they put on people.
Yeah.
So
1,000% is still Genesis right now.
Exactly, 1,000% is Genesis.
Yeah, Annihilation is definitely. She's just wearing that helmet. That's another clue that we got in this. That anybody who wears that helmet, if you don't die immediately or after a few moments, anyway, like that one thing did.
Yeah,
you're awesome. Yeah, whatever. There's like hundreds of them, but then you get to control the hordes of Amenth, which is the place that invaded Morocco and split it, I guess, in half to begin with. Those folks.
Yeah.
So Iska the Unbeaten is actually Apocalypse's sister-in-law. We learned that.
She was the first to betray him too.
But exactly. But why are they so pissed if they're the ones that decided? Did they learn that Apocalypse really didn't do what he was told to do? Because his mission...
Hickman is very good at telling you a lot of details while also being incredibly vague at the same time.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of this
absolutely trust Hickman to like develop this story.
Oh no, he's going to develop. I'm just saying he sort of alluded to a fact that these folks were pissed at Apocalypse because he left them behind. But that's not really what happened. They told him to go on. Yeah. So that's just puzzling to me what their motivations are. Because that sort of changes their motivations. It may not be revenge. It's obviously not revenge.
It's entirely possible they're just fucking crazy now. They've been fighting this war for thousands of years, and their mom is Annihilation now, obviously. So.
Maybe they're mad he never came back to save them or anything or something like that. You know,
maybe.
Never know.
Yeah. Well, he was. Here it is in my notes. He was meant to prepare this world by completing his old mission of eradicating the weak. You know, that was always his mission, to eradicate the weak, only the strong. So, really, he's stopping a war that he should be like, nah, man, we did it. Come on. We're ready now. Come to Krakoa. It's so nice here. Anyway, it was pretty good, though, overall. Pretty good issue. Next week, Ten of Swords, Stasis.
Yeah, we finally entered the real meat of this event. You know, so far, this all feels like the prelude to Ten of Swords.
It's been all them like going out and gathering their swords. Oh, and quick note with Gorgon, apparently he just knew where his sword was and just got it without any issue.
Yeah, I think he always had it. I think he always
he has like God Killer and Grass Cutter.
He always has a sword when he's around. So
yeah.
I mean,
I think it's hilarious that he went with Apocalypse because he was his bodyguard. Like he's the captain of basically the Krakoan Secret Service who goes with the Quiet Council members if they go off the island. I just thought that's funny. This big ass mug walking around, this giant ass sword, and Gorgon's there like, hey,
Gorgon's pretty badass.
No, he is. Right? I'm not saying he's not, but Apocalypse, really?
It is, I mean, the members of the Quiet Council are some of like the strongest mutants around. You got like Magneto and Apocalypse, and
I think it was X-Men number X-Men number 5, where they go to that United Nations.
That
Oh,
was one of
yeah.
the best
Oh.
issues they've had in this run so
Oh,
far.
so good. So
A really
good.
great Gorgon moment too, where it's like you see the problem is that you see the swords, you think that they're the weapons here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Grass Cutter is one of the swords.
Yep.
There's Grass Cutter, and what's the other one? You said it.
God
Soul.
Killer.
Oh yeah, God
God
Killer.
Killer. Yep.
And,
And
it
then
has,
in the description they talk about how Grass Cutter is actually the better of the two.
yeah, the other one's
weirdly
an
enough.
imperfect.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting too. He had to have said that for some reason. Maybe Gorgon got the wrong one.
I think he's got
Maybe.
both.
Well, he better figure it out.
Some of these mutants are gonna have to lose. So Gorgon's a pretty easy one for me.
Yeah,
to
he's
do.
a pretty easy one to have lose, honestly. I wouldn't miss Gorgon if he.
No,
He was dead before. He was dead just before this event started. He's been dead since Wolverine murdered him way long time ago. But hey, whatever. I don't know who else I'd want to lose. Just saying.
I don't
one of
know.
Cat and Britain's.
Yeah, they can go too. to hell
Solve
with
that
them.
little dilemma, yeah.
At least one of them.
Yeah, at least one of them.
Yeah. Magic, I don't want to see her go. I don't want to see Wolverine go. I don't want to see Cable go. I don't want to see. Yeah, I don't want to see any of them. Cypher, he could probably go. Fuck Cypher. But he's
they
not,
need
because he's the
Cypher.
obvious choice.
No, they'll go with Magic before they go with Cypher.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our comics. All right, who wants to go first? Taylor, you go first.
All right.
You can start off with honorable mentions if you have any. If you even have any.
I didn't read that many books this week, so I'm pretty much going to list everything that I actually read. So I guess for honorable mention, I'll do Arrow number 12. This is one of those books I've been sticking with it since the beginning, and I like it well enough to keep reading it, but not necessarily enough to recommend it to somebody else.
It's Green Arrow?
No, Arrow.
No, Arrow.
Gomer, you ignorant slut.
No, I don't know what
Anyway.
you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fucking dumbass.
Oh, Arrow.
Yes, you idiot.
Oh. I heard they're
Either
coming
way.
over into the main continuity.
It's in the main continuity. Iron Man.
Yeah, I thought it was always in the main continuity.
Yeah, Iron Man
I
was
didn't
in
realize
this
that.
issue. It's drawn with like a manga style, so it is kind of an interesting read. It is kind of cool to see that and like see Iron Man drawn like that and stuff.
And that's Swordmaster too. They're like,
yeah, it was part of
together.
a thing they were kicking off. I guess it was around this time
yeah.
sometime in early 2019. I think is when they started kicking these books off.
They're supposed to have like a King in Black tie-in as well. Just like
Good for
together.
them.
We're like they're together hanging out with somebody.
Yeah, they
else.
actually mentioned that at the end of this one.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I did,
it's fine.
but I added to it.
Either way, this book kind of keeps moving back and forth between like it started off in like the present, but like most of it that we've been reading so far has been in the past, where she's like doing her training, like learning her powers and everything.
What
like
are
I
the
said,
powers? What are the powers?
She controls air, but
Oh, that's
apparently
cool.
in this book that means like all sorts of random shit. Like she apparently
Avatar. Like Avatar.
more than that actually, she can like apparently make the air like basically hard enough to be a sword, so she's effectively Green Lantern.
Oh, okay.
Sort of. Yeah, hard air.
Except she does not work in space. It's like Green Lantern,
No.
with the exact opposite.
I suppose, but like
Yeah,
in
there's
terms
no
of
air in
like how
space,
the
so
power
she
like
couldn't be able to do anything there.
Yeah.
in terms of like the effect of the power, I guess it's
Yeah.
like she can also create like a double of herself using the air.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Iceman does that in some versions of
Yeah.
future Iceman. That's interesting.
Like I said, it was kind of slim pickings this week. I enjoy it well enough, but don't necessarily recommend it.
Are you going to pick up that book are you reading the Swordmaster book as well?
No.
Okay. Is that your 3? Is that your number 3 pick?
That was honorable mention.
Okay, that's what I thought. Go ahead with your number 3. 3 pick.
You need to shut up, Gomer.
I know. I'm sorry. I got confused.
Let the man work here. You
I
know.
was
Alright.
confused. I was confused.
I guess for number 3, I'll do Batman 101.
That's gonna be my number 3 also.
That is my number 1 pick.
Is
this
it
week.
really?
I hate this book so much.
Slim week, man. Slim week.
It
On
was a
normal
slim
this would be an
week.
honorable
Normally,
mention.
this would not have probably made a top 3, but there was a lot of interesting status quo changes going on, at least
Defund
for
the
the time
Batman.
being. Pretty much, yeah. Like apparently, Batman's going to be like holding it together with like duct tape and hairpins here for a little while.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the biggest status quo change here. Lucius Fox now controls the Wayne fortune, and for like
Batman's a broke bitch.
yeah, Batman is a broke bitch, and he's
okay with it.
He is okay with it, and then
He
he
ain't
and
Comes to the
broke,
realization
like-
that the Joker was right.
He ain't broke like y'all would be broke.
I know.
Or I would be broke.
no,
All
right.
I mean, fair enough, but like by Batman standards, he's gonna be
Sure.
pretty broke.
Sure.
But by our
By
standards, he's still
Batman
like 1%
standards.
though.
So let me get this straight. During Joker War, Joker revealed that Bruce Wayne had secretly been funneling money to Batman. Basically, embezzlement.
Mhm.
Basically, he's been
tax fraud.
misleading the shareholders, which is securities fraud. All of these things, and literally nothing changes except Batman may have to change his own fucking oil moving forward. Give me a break.
Yeah,
This
right.
Is less
Where's
status
Bruce
quo
Wayne going to
and
jail?
more. Some
Where's
mysterious.
the trial of Bruce Wayne?
I mean,
Well, you're characterizing it a bit off there because I don't think there was any sort of. I think that the way that they're saying this here is that like he was framed for stuff he didn't actually do.
but no,
rather-
that's
Joker did not expose like him
He did
funneling money to
expose
Batman.
though.
That's
No,
the
he did
lie
not.
they're
He-
using, Taylor. They're saying that Joker lied about
My
all
memory-
these things that actually did happen. All these felonies that Bruce Wayne did get busted doing. They said, "Oh no, Joker was just lying about that." That's
My
why I
memory
love
that
this.
is not
book
that
so
he
much.
is that the Joker was actually like concocting a bunch of elaborate bullshit rather than exposing the stuff that he was actually doing with his money. At no point was he like, "Here's how Bruce Wayne has been funding Batman." I mean, it was like a million years ago. I don't even know if it's in continuity anymore. But that Batman Incorporated thing was Bruce Wayne coming out and saying, "I'm funding Batman," so that wouldn't even be a.
Nobody talks about
Shocking
that.
revelation.
But they do
We
talk
do
about him
Paramore still alive.
embezzling the money, embezzling and using that money.
Irregardless, whatever he.
That's what I think this book. That's the crux of the entire book. Is that new status quo, which
The
isn't
status
really
quo could
a change to the status quo at
I
all.
really need you to shut up right now. Okay. This could be a pretty interesting new thing going forward where we have this. Batman's superpower has always been that he's rich enough to do whatever he wants. And while he is still rich by your and my standards, he doesn't have just unlimited Batmobiles waiting in the docks anymore, So that
Well-
could be an interesting way to have the book go moving forward is him trying to fight crime, be Batman on a budget. Will it work? I have no idea. Probably not. But
Yeah,
it is an interesting setup.
I mean, I just don't think it's. I think any writer has Batman on a budget when they're not worried about him spending a whole lot of money. So yeah, you're right. They can't have a Deus Ex Machina where he pulls a giant robot out of Gotham.
Well, yeah,
building,
this isn't.
you know
this
what I
isn't
mean?
a novel
But big deal.
storyline
But big
idea.
deal.
We've done Batman on a budget before. We've done superheroes on a budget before. Like
I think the big takeaway from this is who has his money now. And that's why this was my number one book. Because I'm sorry, Lucius Fox is a fucking villain. You don't hire Grifter unless you are a villain, dude.
probably.
He is hiding something by
he's
using
got
this
something
money.
going on.
He got something going on. And that's the compelling part of this to me. It's not that
Calling all of his
Batman's
family
having
back.
to move out of the Batcave and work out of a brownstone in downtown Gotham. Oh, and then he's like, "Oh, it'll be better for me because I'll actually be in
not a
Gotham City limits."
brownstone.
You
Anything but a
elite
brownstone.
I don't know what game Tynion is playing, or if I'm just reading between the lines way too hard. but
I bet you
man,
probably are, but whatever.
I hope I'm not, dude, because that actually makes this so much better. So much better. Him and Catwoman are also estranged. They spent a whole lot
Yeah, man.
sort of
You know, you
retconning
spend
that a
all
little
that time.
bit.
Yeah, they're not divorced. They're still technically married, but they're going to be estranged for a year, whatever that means in
See, that
comic book
feels like
time.
weird timing to me in Tiny and establishing a
Well,
brand new arc and a
Isn't
brand new
Tom King about to do a Batman?
Yeah, that's what I was about to
Catwoman
bring
book?
up.
Exactly. That was in my notes.
Yeah.
That's my very next point. Tom King is literally about to do a Batman Catwoman book where
1
they're
year
exploring
later.
their relationship. And that's what it is. It's supposed to be, I would
Okay,
guess
sure.
now,
1
year
later.
after. So that way this book can go on without any,
That's weird.
crap from it. Is weird, dude. It is weird.
DC's continuity has just been weird. It's been all over the place.
Clown Hunter still hanging out on here. Probably the most effective superhero Gotham has ever seen.
We didn't really get to see the Ghost guy again this issue.
No, we didn't see him. That's going to be
That's
next
supposed to be
issue.
next issue, apparently.
This
The
was
Grifter
more
showed
Apparently,
up
they also
to-
have
Grifter showed up
Clown
to-
Hunter going after Harley Quinn for whatever reason.
This was
Oh,
more
yeah.
of a foundational issue that sort of
Mhm.
says, okay, this is
The new
what's going
status
on.
quo.
But I got a whole lot from Lucius Fox that just felt like, man, you're a Sinister. I could tell you're going to use those
It's that
billions.
Gilliam March art, you know. It makes them look sinister, especially him in his little
Yeah.
chair. You never trust people in wheelchairs. I don't know what it is.
Do we think Grifter actually got over on Batman? Or do we think Batman saw it coming? Because he gets the gun, he gets a shot off, and if there would have been a bullet in the gun, it would have taken his head right off. Batman don't lose like that, or is that sort of a?
Who knows? Who cares?
That's another. No, dude, there wasn't anything else to this book.
I'd
I
be
know
willing
there
to bet that
wasn't.
Batman's cowl can deflect like a Derringer.
There's
which
just
is
so
kind of
there's so
Yeah,
many
maybe.
characters in this book.
Maybe.
I can't imagine
Maybe.
all of them being super meaningful. But just with
Yeah.
all the characters he keeps introducing left and right.
Well, most.
But I
half of
honestly
them are
hope that
done
they
now.
don't do like a heel turn for Lucius Fox, because that always just strikes me as like lazy
That is
writing.
lazy.
Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a full-on sort of heel turn where he's intending to be evil, but he's certainly going to do something that Batman would not want him doing. So it might be something of a point where Lucius is doing something that he thinks is good for Gotham. He's like, dude, you spent your billions so wrong. I'm going to spend your billions in the right way and actually fix Gotham City. And I think that's a great, if Tynion takes it in that direction, I think it's a really good move to. Billionaires are not heroes, y'all. All right, billionaires are not heroes. Anyway, who wants to go next? Should
I'll
I
go next. I'll go next.
Go ahead.
My
Good
honorable
pick, though.
mention
Good pick,
is going to
Taylor.
be Robin King #1. It's sort of death metal 4.5. It has a little bit. It kind of continues the story, but honestly, it's completely skippable. The main reason to get this is that Riley Rossimo art.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Beautiful looking book.
Yep.
But
I 100%
the story,
agree.
not great.
Beautiful book. It was really cool how they showed his belt, his utility belt. How he
Oh
got
yeah,
it
all laid out, and you had the little chart there to tell you what everything
what
was.
everything was. That was
Holy
pretty
water
rad.
and unholy water.
He had a plan to kill everybody, and they show him killing at least 4 or 5 different
Oh, yeah.
characters.
He
Just the
kills like
best
4
ways.
characters like in the main continuity. He kills Animal Man. He kills the Blue Beetle. Who else does he kill? He kills somebody else.
He kills what's his name? The Rand Protector.
Yeah,
that jerk off.
Yeah,
Venture
Adam
Man
Strange.
or whatever. Yeah, that's Strange. Adam Strange. But there's a problem I have here with them building it off the continuity, because what the Darkest Knight, the Batman Who Laughs, does is he steals Robins from all these different universes and he throws them in a vat. And this vat of chemicals turns them into whatever, his little groblins, the crow. Well, the Robin King ate this pill because he was ready for it, because he's the best of the Robins, even though
Right.
he's a Batman. And what that does is it makes sure that he keeps a little bit of his psyche, so he doesn't be. And it's weird, dude, because they're playing off all these sort of elements where no, a bat just goes and hides, and you want me to be like everything. A robin fights for what it wants, and I
Right.
don't know. It was like this weird take on, and how the robin. I didn't know this is like the bird of Gotham City, like the national bird. I don't know.
I wonder if
You
that's
gotta
a real
love it when
fact.
they try to retroactively
It's so-
justify
yeah.
that being his name.
Right.
Just
Like
this-
I have no idea why they originally picked Robin back in I think it was in
well,
the
that's
late
why
30s,
now
early
you
40s.
know.
Now you know.
No,
yeah.
they're just retroactively saying that. I would love to know the
You
real
know? No,
reason.
it's
that,
true
like,
now.
I think it was probably
That's
still
what it
Bill
is
Finger
now.
at the time.
Kayla, you gotta get used
Yeah.
to it.
But it turns out that every Groblin that got made after the Goblin or the Robin King had a little bit of that pill left, so they're all.
They all
like,
have
I
some of
don't
their
know.
psyche too.
They also have some of their psyche
Yeah, so the Darkest Knight sends him, since the
back
Robin
to this
King,
planet where
back
he's,
to this planet
where
where
he's
he
been
can
putting
control.
all the Groblins, and now he is technically the Robin King with a planet full of Groblins. And I'm like, well, where the hell are these guys going to come back? What point will they ever make again?
Who knows? There's 2 issues left. Who knows what's going to
There's
happen?
so much crazy shit going on in this series, and this is just the craziest shit I've seen yet, dude. It
But
was
yeah,
so
like
dumb.
the story's crazy, but it's still not quite enough for me to really put it in my top 3.
Yeah.
My number 3 was Batman 101.
Nice.
It was okay. Defund the Batman.
Yeah, actually defund him. Okay,
Yeah.
actually defund him.
Shut up, Gomer. What X book is your top 3?
I have one in my top 3, but that is not my top 3. A couple of honorable mentions: Scumbag #1 by Remender and Deniso. A scumbag mistakes a super soldier serum for a drug needle and becomes Earth's last hope. Actually, not bad at all. Really great art. Zdarsky and Spicer still doing Stillwater. The second issue was just as cool as the first. It's this.
Oh man,
town.
I missed this one.
Oh, it was cool, dude.
Gotta
It's
go
like
back
this
and read it.
town where no one dies, no one ages, and no one heals, and you heal. So they take really special care of their town. So if strangers stumble in and figure it out, they just murder you. But this kid who's grown now gets a letter from his mom, so he goes and investigates. And they decide, well, you're a son of the city, you're a son of the town, so we're not going to murder you. But your mom endangered the town, so they throw her in a hole and bury her alive for 2 weeks.
Oh gosh,
Dude, and it's
That's
written
crazy.
so well. This is a really good opportunity to be just a great horror comic from Image. Another honorable mention, Juggernaut #2. This is on the cusp of being something great, but it's just not quite there yet, man. It's
clicking.
Fabian Nicieza and Ron Garney.
the first issue
Kane-
didn't hit me, so I didn't pick this one up.
This one isn't. It's
I couldn't have even if I wanted to. It was sold out by the time I
Yeah,
got
it's
the
nearly
shop.
there, but it's not. At one point, Kane is told by Xavier that he can't come to Krakoa, and at another point, people are comparing him to the Hulk in terms of destruction, but he's like, "Well, the Hulk had the psyche of a child. I have no excuse because I was in my right mind." You know, it's sort of those themes, but it's just not getting there. You know what I mean? It's not getting there. But my number 3 book, Daredevil 23 by Zdarsky and Chichetto. This teased the return of the Hand, which is always nice. I love the Hand.
Gotta have a hand in the Daredevil book.
Yep, it's still a fantastic read as Daredevil prepares for his trial. Lots of action, plenty of intrigue with the underbelly of New York and the elite class. But overall, it's really just driven by that art, that Chichetto art. I had a great Spider-Man moment in it too, where he ripped the doors off.
Chichetto's fantastic. I
Yeah.
can read anything that Chichetto's drawing.
Dude, no shit. But yeah, that's my number 3, Daredevil 23. It's great. This is a great Daredevil run. Everyone should be checking it out.
Alrighty, I think we're done.
Okay.
Taylor.
All right, I guess
Taylor.
that's me. For
Number
my number
2.
2 this week, I'm gonna do Fantastic Four number 25.
This is extra big.
Yeah. Apparently, well, 25 is a milestone. Nowadays. Where
Nowadays, yeah.
if a book goes 25 before getting renumbered, whoa, wow, we should do. This is a big deal. But this is another one in keeping with a lot of status quo changing stuff that they're doing. The issue featured a bunch of characters that had never been introduced before, but it was pretty cool. Like, I don't know what the creature's name was, but we got this big ugly motherfucker
Weird
here.
blue
Like,
guy.
yeah, he's like swooping out of like from like orbit to like suicide run not suicide run because apparently it can't hurt him, but he like orbit bombs the fucking Baxter building, and apparently they're looking for some crap in various strong boxes that are hidden throughout New York, and so they went into Dr. Doom's and Reed Richards's. But yeah, lots of status quo here because Franklin is now completely powerless. He tried to punch this thing, and that used up the last of his powers. And apparently that means he's no longer considered a mutant because he can't go to Krakoa anymore. The gate doesn't react to him.
He wasn't on mutant side anyway.
Oh well, they've been doing that a lot in the last couple of issues, where like they've been showing him like having dinner at Krakoa.
Well, I saw him have an earring. He had like the X earring.
Yeah, and like he had
weird,
in this issue, he had like Dazzler and like Liz Cheney posters on his walls and things like that. Yeah. They were his bands and stuff. But eventually they managed to fight the thing off, and it creates this like portal that could go apparently absolutely anywhere in the universe. So it looks like they're trying to set up some potential exploration books, which I think is
that's fun.
Take Fantastic Four in again. So yeah, I thought I'm looking forward to what's coming next.
I really wish they would have done that after the whole Secret Wars thing. Follow the FF as they create new universes.
It should have been like the Star Trek for Marvel. Yeah,
that could have been cool. Good. I think that's when they were having their little like. That's when like they canceled FF to like spite Fox.
Yeah,
so that pretty much prevented any possibility of that.
So the kids are with the kids from the end of Empire.
Oh yeah, they are adopted by Ben Grimm and Alicia Masters. Yeah. Okay. Alicia Grimm? I don't know if she changed her name. But anyway.
I don't know. I think she hyphenated it, Masters Grimm.
Sure. Oh, she should go with Grimm Masters because then she sounds like a cabal. She sounds like a cabal of He-Man villains or something.
Yeah.
But
so, I mean, what's little mutant boy gonna do now? Oh, poor little Franklin. What's he gonna do now? Nothing. He's pointless.
Well, I guess there could be plenty of potential character moments about him learning to deal with not having, the power to unmake reality. There's storytelling potential here.
No one deserves that much power, especially
not at all.
Bastard.
Homer, you've got to put your inadequacies aside while we're reviewing these books because you keep
his people needed him.
And that man shouldn't have that money. Franklin Richards shouldn't have all these pounds. You got to let it go for now.
And I sound just like that.
You do. That was a spot on.
You do. It's very spot on.
Yeah.
My number 2 book was X.
Okay, fine. Just skip me. Who cares? Yeah, why not?
Oh, were you going next?
Yeah, I was going next, but fuck you. Yeah, go ahead, go.
I thought you said your number 2 was Batman.
No, that was my number 3.
That was 3.
Sorry, I miscounted. Go ahead.
My number 2 is the same as your number 2, though. It's X-Men number 13.
Well, fuck you, then. What the hell?
Yeah, it was good. You get a
Franklin is not one of the smartest.
Oh, Franklin absolutely is not the smart. Valeria is. Reed is, but Franklin is not particularly smart.
Yeah, he gets that from his uncle Benny.
But yeah, X-Men 13 was a good, background issue for Apocalypse, getting to see his family, learning more about Annihilation and stuff. And it was a hell of a lot better than Excalibur. So
now we were griping about Excalibur because it was a whole bunch of family drama. X-Men number 13 was literally about a bunch of family drama.
It was relevant.
It was so much better.
Drama. It was relevant family drama.
Yeah. He's one of the most compelling characters so far of the whole event. And it was nice to get this backstory on him. And his sword is dope. Scarab is rad.
I just like learning about his family,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the core of this whole event. And this is our one of our first looks into what the hell is even going on here in the first place. It
was certainly our best look so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
he's been slow dripping at that story for a while.
Yeah, every time Hickman sits down and actually tells us what's going on, it has been really cool.
And honestly, when he does really tell us what's actually going on, I'm sure it'll be something completely different than what we think is going on now.
And this book, yes, he answered some questions, but it brought up
a lot more questions
than answered.
Yeah,
well, I think that's
That's the
There's
beauty
a
of a good
truism there
mystery.
that like the best way to answer questions is with more questions.
I guess.
Very
I want to find
Socratic.
out how
It's
this
how
math
he's
is gonna
always
work.
been, and
You're right.
I am here for it. So
Yeah, me too. So that
that
was
was
my
actually my
two.
number one. So I guess we can kind of
Oh,
skip
nice.
mine.
There you
Oh,
go.
okay. So well, my number one this week was Scumbag number one. Rick Remender, Louis LaRosa. That art was fantastic, dude. LaRosa art was great. Like he said, is about like literally the world's worst man. Uh, literally shooting up heroin and taking a shit in the middle of a sidewalk
Like
in
with
front of
people
children and
around, I
stuff.
mean, you feel bad for this guy, man, in a way.
You do, but then
He's
you also
that kind
see
of
him
guy.
do
You
it to
pity how
himself.
terrible he is.
Yep, his only friend in the world is a drug dealer who hates him.
But now he's
But
got to
then
save the world.
But then he
I love
accidentally stumbles upon uh,
So dumb.
like a secret agent fighting a lady who has like super claw powers, kind of like Lady Deathstrike or something like that.
The two super powered folks,
Right,
one
and
way or the other.
they
Yeah.
both kill each other. But after they kill each other, he finds their super potion, and he thinks it's like heroin or something, and he shoots it up, and now he gets like superpowers.
There's nanobots in there, and like the people who own the thing are like, "Okay, who is this?" And he's like, "Hey, y'all, what's up?" He thinks he's hearing voices. He's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to talk to my dealer. These drugs suck." And it's so much nonsense.
Not a lot of story in this one. This was mainly just to introduce to you the character of the scumbag and how terrible he is.
Yeah.
But I'm down for it. He was a terrible scumbag, and that art was fantastic. So I'm definitely in
Yeah,
for
the art
another
really
issue.
drove everything in this. I just
I want to
how
see him
long
actually be a scumbag in specific situations.
how long and how far can you go with something like this before the fart and the shit and the drug jokes just get old and passe? You know what
That
I
is
mean?
true. It's got to evolve past that.
Yeah, it's something's got to move. But
But Remender's very good with characters, so I can
sure,
see it evolving past that over time.
sure. And I have faith in Remender. I think he's going to do a good job. So yeah, I'm definitely reading it too. We'll wrap with my number one again. It was Batman 101. Again, the elephant in the room for this, Bruce Wayne literally gets busted by financial institutions, and he's still able to move and manipulate his fortune and his empire to the extent where he doesn't get in any trouble at all as a billionaire who just is terrible at being a billionaire. And honestly, Joker War happened. He's a Batman who's not very good at being a Batman. All right. I don't know why we keep throwing all of this attention at Batman. He's maybe at this point he's worse than Superman as a hero. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I have terrible
Because
problems.
Superman cities don't get overtaken by a supervillain every other month.
Yeah, every other week it seems like.
Right? Because Bane just took it over. Now Joker's taking it over.
I have a problem with Superman, how
Joker and Riddler
ineffectual
took
he
it
is.
over before that, during
How
the
are you going
War
to
of
be able to
Jokers.
save the world?
and
Like
Riddlers.
literally, you could hover above low orbit of Earth and hear everything going on and figure out where you're needed. But still, you're just going to have a day job where you do nothing for 8 fucking hours a day and clock watch.
Hey, he's a person
What?
too.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's not. He's a fucking
He's got
pretender.
feelings.
Gomer, if
Pretender.
he was a book of him perfectly, immediately, with absolute efficiency, stopping everything before it becomes a problem, that's not a fucking story.
You would
That was
say that's a
All-Star
not a
problem.
fucking
Superman.
book.
That was All-Star
No, it
Superman.
wasn't.
I mean, the basic crux of All-Star Superman was he was so overpowered that he wasn't able to help anymore.
That's the opposite of what the crux of All-Star Superman.
No bullshit. He
The
had to
book
go to
was
the middle
about
of the
him
sun.
as a person, not about him like just going around flawlessly fixing everyone's fucking problem.
No,
he
but
did that a
could
lot,
have.
but
That was my whole point. All right, in that
then that's boring. That's not a book. That's fucking bullshit.
That's
No one
my
would read
whole
that.
point. Both Batman and Superman when you boil them down as characters and heroes, they are just not very good at either. At being heroes or being characters. They're just not. Here we go. Do you all remember Superman Adventures? from a couple of years ago where Batman lets Joker attack Metropolis.
I don't. But
I don't, but that'll teach him a lesson. That'll teach Kal-El a lesson.
Right.
You son of a bitch.
Now you'll know what I'm messing with over here.
I don't know.
Oh, shit.
You got a fire? You got a fire going on? I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, I hope so. He turned off his mic.
Oh no.
Oh,
Somebody
God.
cooking?
Well, it's good thing we got through all the
We got through all the important parts. Now
got
we're
through
just
all
bullshit.
the reviews and everything. So I guess on that note, we should wrap up the show.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or Periscope, those are the three. Periscope's like Twitter, I guess. Those are the three platforms we stream to. Check out the other two. Like and subscribe over there. We would really appreciate it. Speaking of subscribing, come back for all of the shows we do. You got OK Boomer, where Thomas, who has been hanging out in the chat, and Big Willie, just talking old comic, from the heyday, the Golden Age, Silver Age, some modern age, some old modern age stuff. But that's a great show. Big Willie's also doing Creators Outlet, where he's interviewing creators on the daily, sometimes 3 or 4 a day. Dude's a fucking machine. He's also doing 5-minute reviews, which are somehow like 8 minutes. I don't know how he does that, but those are all right here on this channel. We also got the Comic Book Bullies, Leroy and Eli, just talking pop culture. They didn't do a show last week, and I really had a terrible week. I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it, but I'm going to go.
It might have.
It might have. So check them out right here on the Facebook channel, or search Comic Book Bullies anywhere, and you'll find them. We've also got our show tomorrow, the preview show. Taylor, you're invited if you want to hang out and talk about books coming out this week. But yeah, that's all we do there. And this week we've got top 5 on Tuesday. Top 5. What is it? Comic book movies not in the MCU. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. If you like what we're doing, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/outright geekery. Thanks everybody for hanging out. But most of all, thanks to these two jokers.
Anytime, man.
With this joker. I appreciate it. Even though Taylor is kind of mean.
You deserve it.
I do. It's
You
not,
asked
it's not
for it.
wrong. It's not wrong.
I mean, someone has to call you out on your bullshit.
You're right. You're right. No one does, but you take pleasure in it and you have passion about it, so I'm happy. I'm happy about it. We're gonna do it all again next time.
Same geek time, same geek channel.
What was that alarm? It was wonderful.
It was a fire alarm. Somebody was cooking something, I think.
Delicious.